Shut up, Smarks. REDUX. No, I won't tap out. I won't tap out. All of you bastards suck. Just stop watching Raw. Stop watching Raw. So, what I'm starting off with, actually, it's pretty much the big thing I'm doing this week. I mean, I'm probably going to want to talk about Alberto El Patron. So, for right now, though, it's time for the paper review of WWE Great Balls of Fire, which was not hashtag Great Balls of Fire like I was hoping it would be. It was hashtag WWE GBOF because facepalm. That's from the WWE Network from American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. Corbin, Dallas, Texas. Lilu, Dallas Multipass. So, we got 9 matches. There were originally 8, so I did predict they were probably gonna add another one. And oh my God, the poor match. Those two guys in that poor. I think I might be talking about the match longer than the match happened for. And the mental pictures I provide for you would be more than these two guys were seen in that match. So, on that, we'll get into that a little bit later. But starting things off with the pre-show, Neville defended his Cruiserweight Championship against Akira Tozawa. Now, is it just me, or is that anime from 1988 suggesting that maybe we're pronouncing Akira Tozawa's first name incorrectly? So anyway, in the end, Neville performed a spinning back kick to Tozawa to retain his title. And, yeah, not a bad match, certainly, for cruiserweights. Usually cruiserweights don't put off a bad match, usually. But, it could have been better, could have been worse. I don't know if it was too soon for Akira Tozawa. Maybe Neville was just trying to, I can imagine him just sort of standing there in the middle of the ring, jumping as high as he could, and Akira Tozawa asking, "What are you trying to do?" I'm trying to break orbit. That was a sad, sad transition joke. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Gerbonology TV. Indy, I just sent him a friend request like 5 or so minutes before the show started. He accepted it almost right away, and I posted on his wall saying, "Hey, tune in if you can. Thanks for all your great work with Radio Free Cybertron and Take 4 Wrestling and all those other podcasts that are available on tfradio.com. And I invited Brian Kilby to have a listen if he was able to. And in the event he's listening right now, hi Brian, how you doing? So, and yes, I enjoyed your Christmas album as well. So, back to the paper review of Great Balls of Fire. On the WWE Network, the actual pay-per-view opened with Bray Wyatt facing Seth Rollins in the climax. The Eater of Worlds poked the eye of Rollins and executed Sister Abigail on the Architect to win the match. Oh, my Achilles eyeball. Don't poke me there. Achilles, what? Do you actually know the story of Achilles? Yeah? She could have dangled him in the water by his eyeball. You don't know. Just because his heel was so much easier to grab onto. You don't know how hard she could have tried. Anyway, if your mother needed to dunk you in a pool of invulnerability and the only thing she had to grab was your eyeball, she'd grab you by that eyeball. And then you'd have a weakness of being poked in the eyeball for the rest of your life. Anyway. So, I'm not really sure where I was going with that. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Gerbonology TV. So, back to the WWE Great Balls of Fire paper review from the WWE Network this past weekend. Enzo Amore faced Big Cass, and after dominating pretty much the entire match, Cass performed a big boot on Amore to win the match. And, well, yeah, kind of expected. I should be telling you how I predicted these, shouldn't I? So I did predict that Neville would win his match to retain his title. I did think Seth Rollins was probably going to win that match, but oh well, I didn't count on his Achilles eyeball, I guess. And then of course Enzo and Big Cass. I did think Big Cass was likely to win because he's just recently breaking off from Enzo, and I'm sure Enzo would get some revenge down the line. But for right now, Big Cass kind of needed that win and getting him on that boat to success. So the only question is, though, shouldn't he name that if his big boot is going to be his finisher? I mean, only Hulk Hogan can call it the big boot and get away with it, I think. Let's see. Drew McIntyre has the Claymore kick. He hasn't called it that in NXT yet. Because people probably don't know WWE fans don't know how to spell Claymore, I guess. C-L-A-Y, get out. Oh, okay. C-L-I, get out. Okay. K, get out. GTFO, don't forget to buy the WWE Network. Kind of how they react towards most of their fans. So, and Cassius Ohno, he kind of does a big boot too, but I don't think he really has a name for it. And then there's Sami Zayn's hell of a kick. I think that's probably how you're supposed to pronounce it, because that's how you spell it. H-E-L-L-U-V-A. Helluva? No, helluva. Because it's a hell of a kick. Man, did you see that hell of a kick he did? It was just... Fine, Helluva. Fine. Where's my paycheck? Well, he is 7 foot tall and you can't teach that, so maybe... If Gail Kim won't mind a little bit of gimmick infringement, maybe he can call it Can't Eat That. Because it's eating defeat, and Gail Kim's is the... Anyway, so... Because it's kicking him in the face, so... Then Aleister Black, so I don't really want to infringe on Aleister Black's copyright. I don't think he's gonna jump at you and then sit in the middle of the ring and just stare. And you're gonna say, okay, I'll stop doing it. Also, I shoplifted some gum when I was 8. Stop looking at me like that. So, well, maybe he'll just go with the honesty in advertising route and just look Enzo in the eye and say, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna call my big boot. I'm going to call my big boot Break Your Heart. Because that's what it did, Enzo. You little punk. The Heterosexual Cavalcade of Uberswank. Fridays at 3 p.m., 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. Listen live on CHMR 93.5 FM, Alliance 787, Cable 942, or via the internet at www.chmr.ca.
Oh, moving! Ow, pointy! Ew, slimy. Marge, it takes 2 to lie, 1 to lie, and 1 to listen.
What does that mean?
You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. The Tag Team Championships were on the line. International Powers, Sheamus and Cesaro, defended their Raw Tag Team Championships against the Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff, in a 30-minute Iron Man match. The score was at 3-3 after Matt performed a super twist of fate on Sheamus. Thinking Sheamus was the legal man, Jeff performed a swanton bomb on him, but was quickly pinned by Cesaro, who was the legal man, to make the score 4-3. Jeff retaliated and performed a twist of fate on Cesaro, but during the pin, the time limit expired. Hence, Cesaro and Sheamus retained their titles. So, I believe, yes, I did predict that they were going to win the match, so not disappointed, certainly. I did predict that they were going to retain their titles. I'm not sure if the Hardy Boys are going to win the titles from them, because it's a nice little feud they are developing, and seems like the Hardy Boys are skewing a little bit more away from it now, but we'll see how that works out. But, boy, that was some performance that those guys put off, eh? And then on Raw the next night, they did the little broken Hardys from TNA tease, and, well, you know, there were a lot of people just saying, you know, enough with these little teases. Just go ahead and just do the full broken gimmick. But then again, Jeff Jarrett says Impact Wrestling / Global Force Wrestling owns the rights to the broken characters, but, you know, well, one of these days someone's going to say, you know, that's not enough. You're listening to Ring Rust REDUX on Jabronology TV.
Ring Rust presents Macho Facts. Randy Savage once shot down a German plane with his finger by yelling, "Bang!" And what's going through a Macho Man opponent's mind before they die? His elbow. Like me on Facebook, tinyurl.com/RayRust. Follow me on Twitter @MarkJabroni. And subscribe to Jabronology TV, youtube.com/fanboyMarkJabroni.
I can't help that you weren't paying attention. This is Fanboy Mark Jabroni. You were listening to Ring Rust. So now back to Great Balls of Fire on the WWE Network from the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. Alexa Bliss defending her Raw Women's Championship against Sasha Banks. In the climax, Banks applied the bank statement to Bliss, but Alexa managed to escape by touching the ropes. The champ then got herself intentionally counted out. Thus, Sasha won the match, but Bliss retained the title. After the match, Sasha fought with Bliss on the stage and performed a Meteora onto Bliss off the English announce table. Here's the thing. I predicted she was going to win and therefore retain her title, but she lost by disqualification, by countout, but still retained her title. So I guess I'm half and half. So maybe I'll put a question mark by that one. Because, I like looking at the tally at the end of it to see how many I got right, how many I got wrong. Not that it really bothers me one way or the other how many I got wrong and get them all wrong. It's like, well, that was an interesting show. I didn't see any of that coming. So, I try not to concentrate on the negativity. I know there are a bunch of butthurt tosspot internet wrestling fans out there who thrive on the negativity, but that's not really my business. Pardon me while I join Kermit in a cup of tea. Or maybe, a bunch of these people, maybe they've just gotten so disenfranchised with the product that they refuse to stop watching because apparently they forgot how to. Monday night, turn on Raw. Hate this. 3 hours later, turn off Raw. I don't really have any other explanations. They're either in automatic pilot or, they're just doing it out of spite. They're just watching Raw and complaining about it online as if that's going to do anything, just to be spiteful.
Oops.
Run away screaming!
Clean up in aisle 3.
You're listening to Ring Rust REDUX on Jabronology TV. So back to the paper review of WWE Great Balls of Fire on the WWE Network. The Miz, and with his Miztourage, Curtis Axel, Bo Dallas, and Maurice defended the Intercontinental Championship against Dean Ambrose. After Dean executed dirty deeds on Miz, Maurice placed Miz's foot on the ropes, avoiding the pinfall, and in the end, Axel distracted the referee, allowing Dallas to attack Ambrose. Miz then performed a skull-crossing finale to retain his title. And I think I actually predicted Dean Ambrose would win that one. So I guess he got the moral victory, if you want to really stretch winning. But oh well. You are listening to Ring Rust REDUX on Jabronology TV. After that, Roman Reigns faced Braun Strowman in an ambulance match. In the climax, on the stage, Strowman attempted to throw Reigns into the LED light board, but Reigns reversed and pushed Braun into it, destroying part of the light board. Roman then attempted to spear him into the back of the ambulance, but Strowman avoided it, and the former Shield member went in the ambulance himself. Strowman then quickly closed the doors to win the match, and after that, Reigns got out, performing a spear on Strowman and threw him into the ambulance himself. Reigns then drove the ambulance into the parking garage, reversing it and crashing it into a production truck, trapping Strowman inside. Reigns then left as General Manager Kurt Angle appeared in shock. Well, I guess we all were. We were all very much entertained by his shock, I guess. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Gerberology TV. And whilst backstage personnel emergency services attended to Strowman, an impromptu match occurred between Curt Hawkins and Heath Slater. Lasted about 2 minutes. And Slater won it off screen because they were backstage. I saw the match start, and then they went backstage, and the next thing I heard, ding, 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 and here's your winner, Heath Slater. So, after Strowman was freed from the ambulance with the jaws of life, he refused medical treatment and stumbled away. So much like a squirrel hit by one of those really, really small cars, it refused medical treatment and left the scene. Yeah, like the old joke. But anyway, so, hey, at least Heath Slater and Curt Hawkins were on a pay-per-view, kind of, sort of. And Heath Slater won, kind of, sort of, in front of fans, kind of, sort of, for what it's worth. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Gerberology TV. In the main event of Great Balls of Fire, Brock Lesnar defended the Universal Championship against Samoa Joe. At the end of it, Lesnar attempted an F5, but was countered into a coquina clutch for the third time. However, Lesnar escaped and performed an F5 on Joe to retain his title. So he just barely defended his title, and the feud's going to be going strong, I'm sure. And I did actually predict that Samoa Joe was going to win it, so he kind of got a little bit into the head of Brock Lesnar, maybe. So how many did I predict right? I predicted Neville was going to win. I predicted International Powers were going to defend. Big Cass was going to win. Braun Strowman was going to win. And, I did predict Alexa Bliss was going to win and therefore retain her title, so that's half and half. So I got 3.5, I guess we'll say, wrong, and I got 4.5 right. So, all in all, I did pretty good.
Like me on Facebook, tinyurl.com/ringrust. Follow me on Twitter @MarkGibroni. And subscribe to Gerberology TV, youtube.com/fanboymarkgibroni.
That's it for WWE Great Balls of Fire. So now, with the remaining time of my show, I'm going to read as much as I can of the whole situation with Alberto El Patron and give some comment on it. All the stories, of course, have been archived on the CHMR's Ring Rust Facebook page. GFW champion Alberto El Patron was detained by police in Orlando, Florida at the airport on Sunday after he allegedly roughed up a female companion. That female companion, of course, later ended up being Paige, his fiancée. He missed an advertised independent booking on that day in Texas. The witnesses stated that El Patron and the woman were arguing in the terminal, and that's when things turned into an altercation. At the time of this report, no arrests have been made, but the case remains open. El Patron's girlfriend Paige shared a photo of herself with members of Patron's family on social media at Hard Rock Cafe Orlando on Sunday. GFW issued the following statement to Ryan Satin from Pro Wrestling Sheet. Global Force Wrestling takes all legal situations very seriously and is looking into the matter. GFW is a privately held company and will thoroughly investigate the incident and fully cooperate with law enforcement, unquote. The woman who WWE superstar Paige claims threw a drink on fiancé Alberto Del Rio after asking for a photo called the allegation completely false in an exclusive interview with Heavy.com. The witness, who asked for her name not to be revealed and described herself as a wrestling superfan, said Del Rio reeked of like alcohol when he chased after Paige during an argument at Orlando International Airport on Sunday. While arguing on the airport's tram system, an emotional Paige, whose real name is Soraya Jade Beavis, screamed that Del Rio had been, quote, doing coke for 2 days straight, unquote, and called him abusive, the witness alleges. They were arguing back and forth, screaming at each other. The woman, who resides just south of Tampa, Florida, said, that contradicts the story that Paige gave on Twitter. She said that it was her and Del Rio, whose real name is Jose Rodriguez, who called the police on the woman after she threw a drink at him. Jeff Jarrett issued a statement considering whether or not Alberto El Patron would be suspended, and apparently he won't be. Jarrett stated that the situation is unfortunate, that himself and the company's higher-ups are still digging into the situation. Jeff also stated that he has spoken with CEOs from various companies seeking advice on what to do next, but says there's truly never an absolutely correct decision to make. And the responsibility of the company being involved in this situation is on his shoulders. And to close out the call, Jarrett said that they would not be editing El Patron out of the GFW Impact TV tapings to avoid, quote, further damage to the brand, unquote. So, looks like they're standing by him, whether or not they ultimately, following the series of events that have been taking place over the last few days, Paige has broken her social media silence and provided her thoughts on the evening regarding herself and her boyfriend, Alberto El Patron. She went on to Twitter to say that the audio from the airport incident is stupid because her and El Patron can get like that sometimes when they argue. She also taped an excerpt to explain to the public what is going on between the two, defending her and El Patron's relationship. So you can go to Real Page WWE on Twitter and check that out. And there is audio available from TMZ.com. If you want to pop on over there and check it out. And meanwhile, Paige's brother, Zach, posted to Facebook that he's very concerned about their relationship and he considers it somewhat abusive. So here's hoping everybody gets what they need out of this, and hopefully it's a reality check for everyone, and people will get their heads on straight.
That's it for another show, kiddies. Check me out on Facebook, where you can keep track of all the news that's right on the mark, from around ringside to the latest concerts. See you at the shows. Later days.
This is 93.5 CHMR FM.